Okay, family, this is another video featuring another of the Fab 14 children, and I will let her do the introduction. So, family, I bring to you Hit It.
My name is Baby. That's what I've been called my life by family. But I'm Mary Ellen Hardy Lake, the daughter of Fanny Hardy. She was I think she was the seventh child. But anyway, my memories of Grandma Prince is so profound. Grandma Lula. Um, my most fondest memories of her is cooking and singing. She when she was cooking in the morning at the stove, she was usually singing, Father, I stretch my hands to thee. No other help I know. So that was one of her favorite songs for singing.
Glory.
As
Beautiful.
she's making biscuits from scratch and making the red homemade. Well, I don't think they were homemade at that point, but the red link sausages and biscuits and grits and boiling the coffee in the little percolator on the wood stove, and it would smell so good. And the coffee she loved was 8 o'clock coffee, and you could hear it boiling. Boop, 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 and, and you could smell it all through the house, and it was just wonderful. She was a very educated woman, um, for her day. She was a school teacher. I don't know if many people know that, but she told me when she met Papa, he pulled out of school and married her, so she got married and had 14 children, 16 actually. She lost twins somewhere along the road, but it would have been 16. But anyway, she was very educated, and she taught at an early age. She taught myself and Mina, reading. We read the
Who's
Bible.
Mina?
Wilhelmina. Wilhelmina is Uncle Gene's daughter, and she would read with us from the Bible. She would encourage us to read the Bible, and if we didn't know a word, we could ask her, and she would pronounce it. And I remember one day I was reading something, and I couldn't pronounce this word. I don't think it was the Bible, but I remember it until this day, and I kept trying to say the word prehistoric, and she looked at the word and she says prehistoric. So she was very smart, and the one thing she hated was you're not telling the truth. I had took something and eaten it, and when she was looking for it and couldn't find it, she asked me, "Did I see it?" And I says, "No." She said, "Did you eat it?" I says, "No." And I knew I had eaten it, and she could see on my face that I was lying. She says, "Gail, you lying." She says, "Don't tell lies now. If you ate it, you just ate it, but don't tell lies. Don't tell me no lies." So she didn't like it, when you didn't tell her the truth, and it really hurt my feelings because I had lied to her. And after that, I never told her a lie again. I just told her the truth, because I didn't want her to give me that look. It was not a nice look that she gave me. And she was just very. I just saw her as a saint because she never said anything negative about people. She was very funny. She could make you laugh. I mean, she would just say the funniest things. Something she said funny. I better leave that alone because it might hurt somebody's feelings. But anyway, she was just funny. She had such a sense of humor, and she loved children.
Mm.
As Lampkin said, she raised all three of the grandsons, Isaac and Kevin. Isaac is Lollipop, Kevin is Lampkin, and Joe. Joe is deceased, but she raised all three of them. And I was in the house a lot when they were growing up. I was the female in the house to be, just there to kind of help her out and balance things. So I was always around her. And the things I remember most about my grandfather, it was Papa was he just absolutely loved his family. Loved his family. Loved his grandchildren. And what I enjoyed about him more was whenever we would come from Edgefield, he would always have a fire in the fireplace in this house. I'm talking in this house where he lived until he died. This is the second house because the first house burnt down. The first beautiful house, big house, burnt down. So he built this house while he was ill. And I want the world to know I restored and kept this house because he built it when he was ill. I was not going to see this house fall to the ground. So I came from New Jersey to restore this house to make sure it always be here because, and I hope when I'm gone to heaven, somebody will take it over. But anyway, in this very house, um, he would always have a fire in the fireplace in the room that we call the house, the family room. We would call that the house. That for some reason or
Is
another,
the fireplace still there?
just the little hood is there. I'll show it. I have it covered with something. The
Okay.
little, you could see where it came into the house, but I have it covered
Okay.
now. But anyway, he would make sweet potatoes in the hot ashes. He would cover the sweet potatoes in the hot ashes and coals and roast them. And he would sit me on his lap as I would eat my roasted potato, and I would be hugging on his neck and eating my roasted potato. So that was my most fondest memories of him. And let us all remember that he was an entrepreneur. He had the greatest farm of all. Made his own molasses, made his own tobacco, um, peanuts, everything you can think of, and you know, and he marketed them, and his family lived off the money. He was an entrepreneur in his own right. So he was quite a man, and I have so many loving memories of him. But most of all, how he loved, and he just loved his grandkids. Loved them, loved to hug on them, and just showed us affection and
If you if
appreciated us.
if you had to think of one piece of advice he probably would give the young people in the family today, do you know what that might be?
I think he would tell them, God bless the child that have his own. He believed in having your own property, your own house, not having to depend on anybody. Very, very smart man. He probably didn't have a chance to go to college, but he was very, very smart. I remember my mom told me that he urged my father when they would just get married. He was urging my father to buy this piece of property that's on Prince Road. My father didn't buy it, but that's what kind of man he was. He wanted all his children, even though he had plenty of land here, he encouraged them to have their own. He didn't want them to feel like, well, I don't have to do nothing. My grandfather, my dad did it all. He wanted them to strive and branch out and have their own. Very, very independent man. God bless the child that had his own. I think that was a song that he would sing to his children and grandchildren. Independence, not having to depend on the other man for anything. So get a good education. So you can take care of yourself and you don't have to look to nobody, because he didn't have to look to nobody. He bought this property in the 30s when money was really, really scarce. He bought this property, and um, he was always his own man. Never had to depend on anybody for anything. He took care of his 14 children, and they didn't want for nothing. I never heard my mom say they ever went hungry a day, and they had 14 children, 14 siblings, and they had what they needed because Papa was a entrepreneur and a very hard worker and a very independent man.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, cousin baby Mary Ellen. We thank you for recording this video. And in closing, what would you like to say to the family in regards to getting to the Prince Family Gathering in Atlanta? Give your invitation.
My invitation is, this is not an event that you want to miss. Atlanta is a beautiful place. You would so enjoy it, and you would so enjoy hanging out with your family. It's only 3 days, and We want to make it great. We want to make it great. We want to hug on each other and enjoy each other and eat and fellowship. And so you do not, and we're going to worship together. At the end of the family reunion, we're going to a church and worship where we know everybody would enjoy and be spiritual blessed. So you do not want to miss it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. That ends this video segment with Cousin Baby Mary Ellen. Okay. God bless everybody. See you in Atlanta. And if you're watching this video at the family reunion in Atlanta, we thank you for coming.